I get asked a lot why I've ditched Lightroom and Photoshop and moved over to Luminar Neo, and the reason became blatantly clear to me when I was working on a travel photo of my wife and daughter, and I hope it will to you as well. I'll come back to it at the end of the video. In the meantime, when I do this edit, I'm going to be using a tool inside Luminar Neo that I have never used on this channel before, so let's dive in and check it out. So this was taken in 2019, just before COVID. So we got to travel from New Zealand, and this is us in Spain, in Granada. So this is just a snap. There's a lot of issues with it, but one thing I'd like to do is just enhance this foggy scene that we've got going on. You can see that the light is passing through atmosphere in the sky, but we've got a horrible lighting cast going on. So rather than fight that, I'm actually going to work with it. So the first thing I'm going to do is open up the Develop tab. This is going to be a pretty simple edit in terms of what I normally do. And the first thing I'd like to do is jump into the optics section. Sorry, not optics section, the transform section, because you'll see that we are all a bit wonky with the architecture here. Like I say, it was just a handheld snap. So I'm going to click that button right there, and you will have seen that the buildings got corrected. So this was our before and this was after. And that was all just by clicking this perspective correction tool right here. You also have options to work with the vertical and the horizontal as well, so you can manually adjust things. However, just by working with that one button, we're already in a much better place. So now I'm going to go back to the actual exposure and other settings. I might just brighten this one up, increase the contrast a little bit, and make sure our highlights are not blowing out. And let's see, do we need to increase the shadows just a little bit? And now let's jump into the color section. And like I say, rather than working against this yellow cast, I'm actually going to go all in on it. Let's go more into an orangey look. And while that does look completely over the top and vulgar, I'm now just going to drop that saturation back down so we get a more muted look with that. So let's have a little toggle of our before and our after, before and after. Yep, not too bad. Maybe I'll just reduce the magenta a little bit and just bring in a little more warmth. Oh, now I forgot to say, before I started recording, I did run Noiseless AI and Super Sharp AI, just because this was a handheld image shot late at night, ISO 1600, 3200. Now, while they don't do the best job of removing excess noise in our image or actually sharpening the image up, they certainly give us a much better starting point. If noise reduction, sharpening, and upscaling are really important to you, I'll put a link in the description to what I use when it's actually really important to me as well. But for this one, this is good enough. Okay, so on to the tool that I have never used on this channel before, and that is Magic Light AI. So let me just crank the intensity all the way up so that we can see clearly what this does. Let's have a little toggle of the before and the after. Don't be perturbed by these little blue markers here, which is the AI just finding the lights. So at the moment, straight out of the box, I don't really like the look of this, and that's one of the reasons why I have avoided this tool. However, if we play around with these sliders, I'm sure we can get a much better result. So one of the things that I don't like are the actual beams themselves. And so we have this slider for beam width. And if I push that all the way to 100, it gets much softer. And if I bring it down, they get a lot narrower. But watch what happens. If I take that all the way to 0, our beams have disappeared. So we can still illuminate the lights, give them a little bit more punch, but get rid of those beams. We can also increase the glow if we want to, but I don't want to take that too far because I don't want to get any haloing as such. We also have this clearness slider, which if I push all the way to the top, you can actually see it just gives a bit more definition around the lights. However, I don't really want to do that. I just want to go for this nice, soft, ethereal look in this one. So here's our before, here's our after. I'm pretty happy with that, so I'll close it down. So hopefully you can see from that little example with Magic Light AI how I started with something that I really wasn't very impressed with, but with a little bit of finessing, I was able to get the look I was after. And I would say just be mindful of that, because I've seen a lot of people using Luminar Neo and just put an effect on, not really do too much with it and just go, well, that looks shit. So I would just say be mindful of falling into that trap, because I've found with pretty much every tool inside Luminar Neo, if I don't like it straight out of the box, usually I can come up with something that I'm really pleased with once I actually understand what those sliders do and use them with a little bit more finesse and refinement. And talking of that, I'm going to throw another tool on here now, which absolutely has the hallmark of a tool that you might be really disappointed with if you don't know what you're doing with it. And I am talking about Atmosphere AI. So if I grab the amount slider for Atmosphere AI, Luminar Neo does a great job of identifying elements in our scene. You can see that if I push this all the way to 100, my wife and my daughter are actually masked out. The fog is in the background, the foreground is clear, and then it's up to us to actually play around with the slider and tweak this effect. Now, this is not what I'm after. There's a few things that are going on here that I really don't like. So the first is, as we push in the fog, we're actually losing saturation through the whole image. So I'm going to show you a neat little trick to get around that shortly. So I'm not concerned with that. However, it can be an issue. Also, we don't want to go anywhere near as heavy-handed as that. So what I'm going to do is just tickle in a very little amount of fog. But here's one of the really cool things with Neo. We can apply multiple versions. We've got fog, layered fog, mist, and haze, and we don't have to just settle for one. So what we do is we close the tool down, and as you know, if we click this again, we get a brand new instance of the tool. We had the fog that we applied before, plus whatever else we want to apply. So we can actually layer this effect up. You know, we can start adding a little bit of mist, which looks very similar to the fog. We can say, yeah, we'll go with a little bit of that. We can go with some haze, push some of that in. We might want to bring the depth of that forward so it's starting to almost wrap around my wife and my daughter. I'm doing this so quickly and I'm really not super happy with what I'm doing at the moment. I'm just rushing through this. Let's see, layered fog. You know, that sits in the little pocket on the road. This one we can bring further forward and then reduce that amount all the way. I don't know, we'll bring that down. And because I've stacked up so many versions of Atmosphere AI, we may want to go into our edit stack and just revisit those and perhaps bring the amount slider down just a little bit for each one, just so that it's not quite as intense. Obviously, we also have the ability to mask that effect in if we want to, but I'm not going to worry about that too much in this image. The next tool that I'd like to throw onto this is a really powerful tool, and that is the dramatic tool. So if I crank the amount up on this, you'll see that we start to desaturate. Again, I'm not worried about that whatsoever. And in its base format with the local contrast set to 60, I find it's just a little bit too crunchy. So what I like to do with this tool is just lower that local contrast amount. So we still get all the benefit of adding contrast in, but it's not as kind of crunchy. Plus in the brightness and saturation, we can come in here. And if we don't want to sort of brighten up this too much, because after all, it is a night scene, we can just bring that amount down. And of course, we have the ability to saturate and desaturate, but in this instance I'm going to just keep this pretty desaturated. And now let's just do a toggle of our before and our after. So we've achieved quite a lot already with just a few tools, but for this one, while I like that black and white look, I want to reintroduce that lovely warm tungsten-y kind of color that we created at the beginning. So come on, Anthony, how do we do that? Well, what's your guess? What would you do? Let me show you what I'd do. Okay, what tool do we need for this? Do we need to jump into the color section here, or perhaps color harmony? Well, I'm not going to do any of that. I'm not even going to touch a tool as such. What I'm going to do is come over to the layers palette here. I'm going to right click on my layer, or option click if you're using a Mac, and I'm going to duplicate the layer. Ooh, doesn't that look good? Okay, currently we see no difference because obviously we have an identical layer over the top of a matching layer. So what I need to do to get back to my original, I'm going to come into the edits stack, and what I could do is just discard my edits. However, the problem if I were to do that is I'm going to lose my super sharp AI, my noiseless AI, and we're going to lose that geometry correction. And if we lose that, the layers aren't going to align. So what I'm going to do is just throw away the edits one by one. And to do that, I just reset the tool, throw it in the bin. Reset the tool, throw it in the bin. And now we can see that original color again. So let's hide that layer and we see what we did with the edit. So I like the edit, but we're just lacking that color. And now again, if I show this layer, we see all of that color. So what we need to do is come to the tool section and the layer properties. And what I would like to do is just use the color only from this layer. So if I came down to the color, you can see that we now have the color of the top layer and the effects of the layer underneath. But this isn't really the look that I'm after. We might want to reduce the effect slightly just to tickle a little bit of that in, but that's still not what I'm after. So we can go one better than this. Rather than using the color blend mode, I'm going to come down and we can either choose overlay, soft light, or hard light, and that's going to introduce the color and contrast as well. Now, soft light I really love, but I also really like hard light as well. So let's go hard light because it's given us a little bit more of that color. Obviously that is far too strong. If I take the effect away, it looks like that. That's with all of it. And we now use that Goldilocks principle where we look for the sweet spot that is just right. How about we go something like that? You know what? I think hard light is overcooking it slightly, so I might just come back and revisit these. You know what? Soft light might be enough. You know, I don't want to smash people over the head with the color itself, but I do want to just bring a little bit of it back. So show the layer. That's more what I'm after. So let's have a look at our before as I hold the / key on my keyboard and release. We can see the after, before and after, before and after. So now I've had my fun doing that edit, let's go back to the initial question, which was why I've ditched Photoshop and Lightroom in favor of Luminar Neo. So I just want to clarify, I haven't actually ditched Photoshop and Lightroom. I love those programs and I still use them. I use Lightroom for a lot of its cataloging features, and I still use Photoshop when I really want to get into the weeds with my editing. But for me, Luminar Neo has given me something. It's something really special, and that is the joy of photo editing. I've got it back. I've been using Photoshop for so many years. I know it inside out, and I can absolutely create pretty much every effect that I can create in Luminar Neo. I can do that with Photoshop and maybe some plugins as well. But the reason I choose to go for Luminar Neo is it's a lot of fun. It's so intuitive. Like the idea of adding the magic light, what is it? Right, Magic Light AI shows how much I use that tool. The fact that I can use it and the AI can identify where those light sources are and quickly add a light burst if I wanted that, or in my case, a light bleed. Like I can do that in Photoshop for sure, but it takes time. I can just do it instantly in Luminar Neo. The same with the adding fog. I could mask out my wife, my daughter, and sort of brush that in Photoshop for sure. But the fact that I can do it so quickly in Luminar Neo, I really love that. It just frees me up to be creative and just be in the flow of creation. And for me, that's what photo editing is all about, just having fun with our photo edits. Now, I know most of you who watch my channel already own Luminar Neo, but if you don't and you like the look of it, I have a link in the description with a discount code that you are welcome to use. Luminar Neo is having a massive update coming this fall, and I have covered that. It's got a lot of really cool tools coming, but if you haven't seen that video all about that, you can check that out there. If you do buy Luminar Neo now, you'll have access to that version. I think that is it for this video. So thank you very much for watching, guys. If you haven't subscribed already, you can do that by clicking that button there. Give me a thumbs up, all that good stuff. Leave me some comments, yada, yada, yada. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye for now.